Biology, chapter number 2, the flower. So let's see it in detail. As we know, there are different types of flower present in the nature. A flower is usually most colorful and beautiful part of the plant which serve as a reproductive organ. It is attached to the shoot by means of stalk. Now let's learn the different parts of the flower in detail. Each part is arranged in such a way that we call them four whorls. So let's learn the four whorls in detail. First, calyx. This is the outermost part and it is the outermost whorl present in the flower. It is made up of tiny green leaf-like structure called as sepals, and while the growing stage of the bud, sepals protect to the bud. Next, corolla. It is the second inner whorl. It is made up of the structure called as petals. It is most colorful, attractive part of the flower. It is colored or white but never green. In some flowers, sepals are absent and they fuse with the petals. Due to the attractive petals, insects attract towards the plant for pollination. Next, Ambrosia. It is the third whorl of the flower, inner to the petals. This whorl is made up of stamen, and each stamen is made up of the thread-like structure called filament. The anther contains pollen sacs which produce the powdery yellow colored substance containing pollen grains. The pollen grains contain the male gametes. So the androecium is called as a male reproductive part of the flower. Next, gynoecium. It is the fourth whorl of the flower and innermost whorl of the flower. It is made up of carpel. The carpel consists of three parts such as the ovary at the base, the tube-like structure called as a style, and style arises from the ovary. Style has an expanded stigma at the tip. The stigma receives the pollen grains and the stigma transfers the male gametes of the pollen grain into the ovary. The ovaries contain the small rounded bodies called as ovules, and the ovules contain the female gametes. That's why gynoecium is called as a female reproductive part of the flower. If calyx, corolla, gynoecium, androecium, these all are present in one particular flower, that flower is called as a complete flower, or it is also called as a bisexual flower. However, if any one of them is missing in the flower, then that flower is said to be an incomplete flower. Now let's see types of flowers in detail. Based on presence of male and female reproductive part in the flower, there are two main types of flower: bisexual flower and second, unisexual flower. Bisexual flower. Some plants have the flower in which male and female reproductive part is present. That is, androecium and gynoecium is present in the flower. Such flowers are called as a bisexual flower. Second, unisexual flower. In some flowers, either male or female reproductive part is present. Means any one part is only present in the some types of flower. Such flowers are called as a unisexual flower. Next, functions of flower. As we know, flower is the reproductive part of the plant, and the main function of flower is to to produce fruits and seeds, and this can be achieved by the process of pollination. So let's learn pollination in detail. Pollination. Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the flower. There are two types of pollination: self-pollination and second, cross-pollination. Self-pollination. It occurs within a same flower or between the flower of the same plant. In this pollination, the pollen grains from the anthers falls on the stigma of the either the same flower or another flower on the same plant. Second, cross-pollination. It occurs in flower of the different plants of same type. Here, pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the another flower on another plant of the same kind. Agents of pollination. For cross-pollination to occur, agents should be available to carry the pollen grains. So there are different agents of pollination. So let's see one by one in detail. First, insect. Honeybee, butterflies visits to the flower for collecting nectar. During this, the pollen grains sticks to their mouth parts, legs and wings. Insect visits to the other flower of the same kind. The pollen grains falls on its stigma and bring about fertilization. This is possible due to agent of pollination, that is insect. So it is called as insects pollination. The sum of the flower insects pollination takes place. For example, marigold. The insect pollinated flowers are usually large, bright in color, and they produces nectar. Second, wind. The sum of the plants like maize, pine, palm, they produce the dry pollen grains in large amount. When these flowers are mature, these pollen grains are blown away by wind. If they happen to fall on feathery stigma of the flower of the same kind, then pollination occurs. The pollination occurs due to the wind is called as wind pollination. Third, water. Water is also the agent of pollination. In the pollination process, if pollen grains are carried out by water agent, then it is known as water pollination. The water pollinated flower is Vallisneria. Vallisneria is an aquatic plant and in which pollination takes place due to the agent water. Vallisneria is an aquatic plant whose male flowers are submerged in water. They later get detached upon maturation and float on the water surface. When these floating male flowers happen to come in contact with a female flower, then pollen grains are transferred to its stigma. Fourth, animals. Some of the animals like bats also acts as agents of pollination. When they visit flowers, they also carry pollen grains with them for pollination. In this way, there are four agents of pollination. They are animals, water, wind and insects.